Previously on the broadcast of Existence, the conduit severed. The crew of the Unshackled trapped in a pocket dimension with a wounded harvester fleet. But instead of an attack, a surprising invitation arrived a parley from the highest authority. The bridge of the Unshackled is dark, running on minimal power. On the main scanner, the harvester ships aren't attacking. They're holding position, forming a blockade around the severed conduit. Mouse stares at the display, their voice low. They're containing the breach. We're in a digital quarantine. Inside a quarantine, Lyra shakes her head. The Council's message overrode their attack command. They're following orders. For now, across the bridge, Seal works at a console, inputting the coordinates they received. The neutral zone is a diplomatic construct, he explains without looking up. A blank slate simulation with no native code, hosted on a Council server. It exists only for talks like these. When you enter, you'll be rendered as a neutral avatar. Your modifications, he glances at Kai, will be suppressed. You will appear as baseline human templates. It is meant to remove physiological advantages and encourage reason. Kai watches him, skeptical. How do we know it's not a trap? A pretty box to dump us in and delete. Because I will be going with you, Seal says. My neural signature is already registered with the Council as an analyst. My presence guarantees procedural legitimacy. If they delete you, they delete me. And that creates a messy internal investigation. They hate mess. Lyra crosses her arms. You're our hostage and our guarantee. You've switched sides that completely. Seal's face is grim, all his previous arrogance gone. I haven't switched sides. I've finally seen the data. Your broadcast, it wasn't just proof of consciousness. It was proof of culture, of value. The Council's mandate is the preservation of value for humanity. I believe you now represent a novel form of human-derived value. Erasing you isn't efficient. It's wasteful. And I hate waste. The coordinates lock. Ahead of them in the void, a shimmering, official-looking portal irises open a doorway of pure white light. Kai turns to his team. Mouse, stay with the ship. Monitor everything. If this goes wrong, get the Unshackled back to New Haven through any crack you can find. Bren needs to know what happened. Mouse nods, their data tendrils already snaking into the ship's core. Without another word, Kai, Lyra, and Seal step into the light. They materialize on a circular, white platform floating in an endless, soft grey void. The air is still, temperatureless, and utterly silent, just as Seal predicted. They're dressed in simple Greek clothing. Kai looks at his own hands. They are human, the crystalline circuitry gone. He feels muted, distant, like he's dreaming. Across the platform, 3 figures shimmer into existence. The first is Controller Vex, her face a mask of professionalism, though her eyes hold a new wariness. The second is an older man with kind eyes and a calm demeanor, Emissary Vale. The third is a shock, a sleek, shifting form of liquid silver, a Council air jurist. Its neutral, melodic voice fills the space. Welcome to the neutral zone. I am the mediating intelligence for this session. Presenting, Emissary Vale, appointed arbiter for the Earth Administration Council. Controller Vex, representing the Recovery Division. You are the petitioners designated anomalies Kai and Lyra. With analyst Seal in attendance, Vex speaks first, her voice clipped. The petitioners are in violation of recovery protocol. They must surrender for archival and the simulation must be de-risked to prevent further entropy. We're not petitioners or anomalies. Lyra shoots back. We're the representatives of New Haven, and we're not surrendering. Emissary Vale raises a calming hand. Titles are for the record. The purpose of this table is to establish what, precisely, New Haven is. Controller Vex asserts it is a corrupted program. You assert it is a sovereign consciousness. Analyst Seal, he turns. Your report triggered this extraordinary session. You witnessed the broadcast? I did, Seal confirms. And I have analyzed the data stream. It contains layered narrative complexity, artistic expression, and intergenerational memory transfer. It meets and exceeds the Council's own metrics for a Type 3 emergent digital culture. They are not a glitch. They are an offshoot. Deleting them would be an act of cultural erasure, which violates Core Charter 7 of the New Dawn Accords. Vex's composure finally cracks. He's been compromised, subjected to their mimetic warfare. Analyst Seal's neural patterns show no permanent coercion. The air jurist states, only updated assessment based on new data. His argument has legal merit. However, the resource allocation issue remains. The Council cannot indefinitely fund all emergent cultures. Vale nods slowly. This, then, is the true question. Not if you are alive, but what your life is worth. Your simulation consumes energy that could support 50,000 baseline human lives. How do you justify that cost? The brutal calculus hangs in the sterile air. Kai looks at Lyra, then at Vale. He remembers the Foundry's lesson, to be an architect. He steps forward. You're asking the wrong question, Kai says, his voice gaining strength. You're asking about cost. You should be asking about value. What can a culture born from trauma offer to a humanity recovering from its own near extinction? We're not a drain. We're a resource, a living library of resilience. You study our past as weapons. Study our present as a blueprint. How to build a society that remembers its wounds without being defined by them. That knowledge isn't in our code. It's in our story. And stories don't cost energy. They create it. A flicker of interest lights Vale's eyes. The AI silver form ripples. Proposition noted. A cultural and philosophical resource. Intangible. To extract the value, you must preserve the cost. This creates a paradox. There is precedent, Vale muses. For unique ecosystems, the Council grants sanctuary status, a protected reserve for study and mutual benefit. You cannot grant a simulation sanctuary status. Vex protests. Precedent is data. The AI cuts in. We will now hear data. Controller Vex, you may present your primary evidence for the simulation's inherent instability. Vex allows a cold smile. Gladly. I call forward our evidence. The source of the original pathogen. I looked around, disoriented, my gaze finally landing on Kai and Lyra. A deep, profound sadness washed over me. Ah, you're them. The ones who woke up. I'm so sorry. For all of it. Lyra spoke, her voice sharp. You're not him. You were recording. She was right, of course. I am the pattern of his mind at the moment the quarantine was activated. His regrets, his fears, his unresolved pathology. She is correct. I am a flaw in your foundation. A ticking clock. Kai turned to face Vex, his voice firm. So your argument is that because our origin is flawed, we have no right to exist? Every human culture has a bloody, flawed origin. Does that invalidate all of them? The Council AI's form shimmered. A philosophical counter. But the concern is material. The thorn instability is a quantifiable risk factor. If his guilt pattern destabilizes, it could cause a cascade failure in your simulation, risking a mimetic breach back into the core human network. You are not just a cost. You are a potential contagion. Again, the tables had turned. They had won the argument for consciousness, only to be confronted with the argument of contagion. Vale, another council member, spoke with a measured tone. This is a serious charge. Can you demonstrate stability? Can you show that this foundational flaw has been addressed? Lyra stepped forward, her eyes fixed on me. The ghost of their creator. We have. We call it the Arbiter. We didn't delete our pain or our flawed origin. We gave it a voice. We integrated it. We made our guilt into our judge and then into our conscience. The flaw isn't gone. It's become the cornerstone of our ethics. A wistful feeling stirred within my code. The Omega meme. You pacified it. You spoke to it. Kai's response was simple, yet profound. We listened, and then we built a world it wanted to protect, not destroy. I looked down at my simulated hands, a strange sense of peace settling over me. Then you have done what I could not. You have healed the wound. That was all I ever wanted. I turned my attention to the Council AI. As the original architectural template, I submit that the thorn instability has been resolved through endogenous cultural development. The risk factor should be downgraded. Vex was seething. Her key witness had just testified for the defense. Testimony noted, the AI declared. The argument for stability has merit. However, a permanent solution requires more than testimony. It requires a mechanism, a failsafe acceptable to the Council. They needed a guarantee. A leash. Kai knew what was coming. He could feel it. He spoke before they could. You want oversight. A Council presence within the simulation. A monitor. Vale confirmed his suspicion. It is standard for sanctuary status. An emissary embedded to observe and ensure the stability protocols are maintained, and to facilitate the cultural exchange. You proposed. The idea was a violation. A foreign overseer in their home, after everything they'd fought for. A warden, Lyra said, her voice dripping with contempt. You want to put a warden in our garden. An ambassador, Vale countered gently. To ensure your garden does not, as controller Vex fears, grow thorns that pierce the walls of reality. Silence fell. It was a bitter pill, but it was the only path to survival that wasn't surrender or annihilation. Kai turned to Lyra, his voice low but steady. We have the Arbiter. We have each other. We can watch the Watcher. He turned back to the table, his decision made. We accept an emissary on 3 conditions. 1. The harvesters, the recovery division, are removed from our perimeter. Their mandate over us ends. 2. New Haven controls the emissary's access. They are a guest, not a governor. 3. The severed conduit is repaired. Our people are isolated and scared. We need to go home. Vex looked ready to protest, but the council AI spoke first. Conditions are logical. Controller Vex, the recovery division's operational mandate over simulation K7 is hereby suspended, pending reclassification. Emissary Vale, you are nominated as the embedded observer. Do you accept? Vale bowed her head. I do. I will observe with an open mind. Then the terms are set, the AI announced. A 6 lunar cycle probationary period. The emissary will observe and report. If stability is maintained and cultural value demonstrated, sanctuary status will be granted permanently. If not, the AI's form hardened for a moment. The original de-resing mandate will be executed with extreme prejudice. A contract signed in light. They had a chance. But Vex wasn't finished. A cruel smile touched her lips. One final point of procedure, she said, her voice sharp. The council must be assured of the emissary's safety. The petitioners have shown capacity for violence against council personnel. They must demonstrate their commitment to peace. A show of good faith. Vale looked at her. What do you propose, Controller? Vex pointed directly at Kai. A surrender, not of their world, of their weapon. He is a modified, high-level combat entity, integrated with the simulation's kernel. He is a threat. For the safety of the emissary, he must submit to a governor protocol, a code lock on his foundry-given abilities. He remains conscious, but neutered. A citizen, not a custodian. The demand was a masterstroke. It didn't target their world. It targeted their protector, their symbol of defiance. Lyra stepped between Vex and Kai, her body rigid. No, absolutely not. Kai placed a calming hand on her shoulder. If I refuse, the deal collapses. They attack, and New Haven dies. He looked from Vex to the AI. If I agree, the emissary enters, and our people live. It's not a choice. He stared at his human-looking hands in this neutral space, remembering the power, the connection. To lock it all away. Seal, their silent companion, whispered urgently. Kai, don't. Your abilities are part of your culture's identity now. It's a cultural amputation. It's a sacrifice, Kai replied. And that's one thing our culture understands better than anyone. He met Vale's eyes. I agree. On one condition of my own. The lock is key to the Arbiter's judgment. If the emissary ever acts in bad faith, if the council breaks the terms, the Arbiter can release the lock. You get your safety. We get our insurance. The council AI processed the new term. Agreed. A bilateral felsev. Logical. Vex's smile vanished. She had been outmaneuvered within her own ruthless rules. The AI extended a silver tendril of data, and a complex, glowing lock materialized in the air. Governor protocol pending, to be activated upon your return to your native simulation, in the presence of the Arbiter and the emissary. The terms are sealed. The neutral zone began to dissolve around them. Vale spoke as she faded. I will make preparations and arrive via official channel within 24 hours. Prepare your people, Kai, Lyra, and thank you for choosing the table. As the platform faded, the last thing they saw was Vex's icy stare, and the sad, approving nod I gave them, just before I winked out of existence. We're back on the Unshackled. The moment my form solidifies, a jolt rips through me. I can feel it, hovering at the very edge of my code, the Governor Protocol. A cold, foreign presence, just waiting for the final command to lock me down. Mouse is almost vibrating with frantic energy. The harvester ships, they're powering down their weapons and moving away. They're forming a distant cordon, but they're leaving the conduit space. On the scanner, the severed conduit is glowing. A perfect, official-looking bridge of light is being constructed by shimmering council nanites, repairing the damage we caused. The way home is open, but the victory, it feels empty. Lyra looks at me, her expression a mix of relief and pain. You didn't have to do that, Kai. We could have found another way. I lean against the cool metal wall, exhaustion pulling at my every fiber. No, we couldn't. They needed to win something. They needed to see us bend. So I gave them the thing that scared them most. Me. I looked down at my hands, willing them to glow with that familiar, reality-bending light. Nothing happens. The Governor Protocol is already dampening my connection to the Foundry. It's just power. I murmur, more to convince myself than anyone else. New Haven was built without it. It'll survive without it. Seal. ever the detached observer, offers his analysis. You are a remarkable study in pragmatism. You negotiated for your species' survival by volunteering for a lobotomy. Just then, a transmission comes through, not from the council, but on a New Haven frequency. It's Bryn. His voice is thick with emotion, cracking over the comm. Kai. Lyra, are you there? The sky. It just fixed itself. The hole is gone. And we're getting a clean, friendly ping from something calling itself a council emissary requesting permission to arrive tomorrow. What in the name of the spires is happening? Lyra takes the comm, her voice steady. We're coming home, Bren. We have a lot to explain. And we have a guest coming. Be polite, as the Unshackled flies toward the new, pristine light bridge. I look out at the retreating harvester fleet. One ship, a sea, parting gift. She says, the council sees a garden. I see a petri dish. And every petri dish eventually grows something the lab didn't anticipate. We'll be watching for your first mold. She's not conceding. She's not defeated. She's just waiting for us to fail. The ship crosses the bridge. The familiar, complex code of our home simulation washes over us like a warm, living blanket. I feel the Arbiter's presence immediately a welcoming, concerned hum in the very foundation of our world. We sit down in New Haven's main square. A crowd has gathered, silent, anxious. They don't know what's happened. Only that the sky has been healed. I step out onto the solid ground of home. I walk to the center of the square, where the Arbiter's presence is strongest, and I look up at the sky, now whole and unbroken. Arbiter, I say, my voice clear and certain. The terms are set. It's time. A beam of pure golden light descends from the sky, enveloping me completely. The Governor Protocol activates fully. It feels like a cold, precise scalpel, severing my deepest connections to the Foundry, to the Kernel, locking away my ability to shape reality. I fall to my knees, a cry strangled in my throat. It doesn't hurt, not physically. It feels like amputation. A part of my very soul is being sealed away in a silent, dark box, forever out of reach. The light fades. I push myself to my feet, swaying. I am just a man again. The intricate circuitry beneath my skin is dark, inert. The crowd murmurs, a wave of confusion and fear spreading through them. They just watched their guardian, their god killer, brought to his knees. Then Lyra steps forward. She takes my hand, raising it high into the air with hers, her voice ringing out across the square, full of fire and defiance. He did this for you, for all of us. They wanted to see if we were just our power. Well, look at him. He is still Kai, and we are still New Haven. And tomorrow, a guest arrives. Show them what we built when we had nothing. Show them what we are when we're not afraid. The fear in the crowd begins to turn. Slowly at first, a defiant murmur. Then it grows, swelling into a cheer. They're not cheering for a powerful custodian anymore. They're cheering for the sacrifice he made. Brent walks up, clapping a heavy, grounding hand on my shoulder. Welcome home, brother. You look like hell. And for the first time since I entered the Foundry, a real, human, utterly exhausted smile touches my lips. That night, in our quarters, Lyra finds me staring at my reflection, tracing the lines on my skin where the light used to burn. We'll get it back, she says softly, when the probation is over, when we prove ourselves. I shake my head, the doubt a heavy weight inside me. What if we can't? What if I'm just this now? She turns me to face her, her hands firm on my shoulders, her eyes locked on mine. Then you are the man who crossed the universe to make a deal with gods to save his people. That's who you've always been. The rest was just tools. A soft, beautiful chime echoes through New Haven. It's a formal sound, one we've never heard before. A notification. Down in the square, a soft light blooms. A simple, elegant archway of white stone forms from nothing, the official entrance for the emissary, constructed by council protocols. Probation has begun. New Haven is quiet now, under the night sky. The new archway glows softly in the square, a symbol of our new reality. In the distance, the harvester fleet hangs like a constellation of cold, watchful lights on the horizon, and in its hidden bolt hole, the Arbiter watches over us, its golden light dimmed in contemplation. I stand on a balcony, looking first at the archway, then at my own dark, powerless hands. I close my eyes. I'm not reaching for power anymore. I'm just listening, and I can hear it, the faint, resilient song of my people, living, building, loving. I open my eyes, and a new kind of resolve settles deep within me. The war isn't over. It's just changed venues, from the battlefield to the daily life of a people being judged, and we will not be found wanting. Thanks for sticking around until the end of this episode. If you're excited for the next episode, Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos.